Hello and thank you for listening to Getting Fit with Farmers, a series of podcasts interviewing farmers from around the southeast of South Australia on farming and fitness. I'm Kimberly Langley, a physiotherapist from Good Country Physio. Today I'm joined by Craig Brewin. Thanks for sitting down to chat with me today. Tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you farm, how long you've been a farmer for, and what kind of farm do you run?
Yeah, g'day Kimberly. So my name's Craig Brewin, and I originally grew up in Adelaide. So I left Adelaide just after I finished school. When I was 18, I actually started a panel beater's apprenticeship for 6 months and got pretty good at washing cars, so I wasn't much good at anything else. So I moved to Western Victoria and got a job on a farm there for 2 weeks that turned into probably 5 or 6 years. And since then, that was about 24 years ago. Yeah. So, and I've been between Naracoorte and Lucenoa running a farm here for nearly 17 years now. Yeah, nice. And so I'm suppose what you'd call a career farmer. Yeah. Like I'm not, it's not a family farm or anything. Yeah. I manage the farm for some other people, and it's the career path I've taken. So,
very nice. Are you a green, yellow, or red man? So for those listening that don't know, John Deere, New Holland, or Case?
Well, funnily enough, I don't get too tied up with machinery. It's just not my forte. But as a company, we sort of run John Deere's. But just recently, we've got a JCB, which is yellow, and nice. That's our favourite toy at the moment because pretty well, as long as it can feed a bale of hay out or get a tree off a fence, that's about as far as machinery goes for me. But so probably green and yellow. Yeah.
Nice mix. What's your favourite thing about being a farmer?
I think since the time when I left Adelaide and started, working on farms and that sort of thing, it's just the lifestyle and the flexibility, and a lot of the time you actually don't feel like you work as much as you're working physically and all those sort of things. It's it's to get paid to jump on a motorbike and muster cattle and do those sort of things. It doesn't really feel like work to a degree. So I've enjoyed it the whole way through, really.
It's pretty lucky if you can work and not feel like you're working and enjoy it. So
absolutely. It's a good existence, in some respects, because at the end of the day, I suppose each thing you do, you're putting a meal on a person's table or thereabouts. So enjoy that side of it.
Yeah. What's the most physically demanding part of your job, and do you do anything to sort of prepare yourself for that?
I think this day and age, it's not nearly as physical as what it used to be, even in the time that I've been doing it. There's a lot more automation and the tractors and all those sort of things, and plus, we don't sort of have a real lot of capital tied up in machinery, so we contract fencing out and those sort of things.
Nice.
Probably just the physicality is mixing your decision making, and you sort of got to have your mental approach and the physical approach. The whole thing. Yeah. And you're dealing with a lot of things out of your control, so that can be a bit draining. But from a physical point of view, it's just that working, I suppose, outside and hot or cold or those sort of things. Really, more any so climate, than digging holes and and lugging heavy pipe around. That doesn't happen so much. As what it used to. Yeah.
What's the best farming invention of all time, in your opinion?
Well, I think I suppose really. The tractor, really, because it's another set of hands, and this telehandler that we've got's a beauty. It just, you can nearly, butter a piece of toast with it, as they say. But it's just so, it's another set of hands, and so probably the tractor, or we do a lot of artificial breeding and all that. So that sort of technology, you can bring things forward a long way with all that. So there's so much. Technology coming in now that it's hard to keep up with, really.
Which I guess sort of can help take that physical aspect out of farming a little bit, so that you can, get work done more effectively and efficiently, and still have energy at the end of the day, almost.
That's right. You can set set some systems up that sort of help, take the risk out and all those sort of things, and technology's going to hopefully solve the labour issue that everyone's got, and you just got to drive those sort of things, but you just got to double check everything all the time.
Make sure it's working.
Most of the time it works all right, but just got to not believe the phone. You got to also look in the paddock.
Check. What's your favourite stretch or exercise you like to do? with work? Say before, during, or at the end of the day, if you have any?
Yeah, probably don't do a lot of stretching like routinely, but it's just, over a period of time with footy and that sort of thing, you have different injuries and certain stretches, or probably charging up the coffee machine in the morning is probably the first thing. But look, nothing in particular, but it depends if you've got it. If depends on what you've been doing, you might have to. It's probably just your legs, really. Because you're on your feet all day.
So just some more leg.
And most of the time you get up and about, like that's as good as a stretch anyway, because you're not sitting down for too long. So
rather than getting up, walking to the coffee machine and then straight in the ute, you're sort of walking around a bit, getting ready for your day, and you feel that just loosens you up a little bit. And
because it's always first thing, like you've got to get outside, so let dogs out, muck around, so you're always on the move. So
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah.
What's your favourite farming joke or quote or saying?
Oh, look, there's so many of them, and but I think don't panic is always one, because you always think, geez, it's getting out of control, but let's just not panic here for a while. Or I think the old one is there's always one, and fair dinkum, there is always one. Whether it's a calf or a lamb or a person or whatever. There's so many quotes out there that you probably don't realise you're saying them half the time, but it's thing about quotes is that I think about is actually when you really think about their true meaning.
Like you're saying, don't panic's pretty good. That's a good one.
That is. That's because that can happen a bit.
When all hell breaks loose.
It happens quite a bit. But when you break down all the quotes around, you can't have your cake and eat it too. When you actually think about that, like how someone's come up with that quote, makes a lot of sense.
That's very good.
But
nice one.
We use it all the time.
Have the farm motto.
That's it.
How important is being fit in regards to the success of your business, your overall health, and your mental well-being?
I think in the past, once you get over 40 and you're not playing physical sport and all that all the time, that was a sort of forced fitness upon you when you're involved in footy and those sort of things, because it was just you went to footy training and chased the footy around and you're fit and but and that was important because it sort of got you off the farm. You network with people that are involved in the business, whether they're builders or sparkies or other farmers. You can talk about opportunities around or it's really important because it's a physical job and it's sort of a mix of physically demanding and mentally demanding because you're making decisions all the time. A lot of things, you've got to try to control what you can, but there's things that don't always go your way. But it's an interesting job in the way that you're physically challenged as well as mentally challenged. And
I guess sometimes the fitter you are, the more ability you have to think about what you're doing, sort of thing. Whereas if you're huffing and puffing, sometimes that affects sort of how you're thinking a little bit too. So I guess it's important having that fitness behind you. So then when you're not panicking, you can actually think clearly. Okay, what have I got to do and get that done as well.
That's right. Like if there's, say, for instance, if you wanted to, trade a couple of thousand lambs, or it's a physical sort of a thing as well as obviously it's got to be a viable thing. But you need to be able to think, we're going to have to do all that, do the work to get the result. So you need to be, because you're going to be physically challenged by it. So you don't want to make a decision that's not based on the fact you can't carry out the job if it's a viable thing to do as well.
Talking about footy and meeting farmers and stuff, who is the fittest farmer if you know of any?
It's it's funny because farmers vary. Some are fit physically, some are really fit in the mind. And so look, without singling anyone out, but you sort of some farmers you can draw upon their their mental fitness to sort of give you advice, and other farmers you can draw on how they fit in there. Their physical sort of fitness and all that sort of thing, and sort of work out how they manage time and commitment and all those sort of things. So I wouldn't like to single anyone out really, but, there's a big range of fitness in farmers, and it's not all about the physical fitness.
But the mental fitness as well. That sounds great.
So.
How would you do your job if you were physically injured or disabled?
I think, like, this day and age, that, like, if, like, you can probably, like, there's strategies around now and technologies and systems, like, it'd make it hard, but there's always a way. Like, there's always a way you can get something done. Like, it doesn't matter. Sometimes, the more challenged you are, the better, the better decisions you make too. So I'd like to think that, things would go all right. Because if you're relying on yourself to do everything, it's probably not ideal. So,
like you're saying, probably a little bit harder to be able to do stuff. You'd have to think a little bit more about what you're doing. Yeah,
you spend a lot of time on the phone.
Yeah, become a good talker.
Yeah. So that's one thing. That's another thing about probably trying to keep a little bit of fitness is that you stay, like, you're not injured, and although you've got to be careful that you don't get injured in trying to be fit too, which can happen.
And I guess that's what leads into, like, what do you sort of think you should do, or do you do to ensure that your body will help keep you farming into the future, say exercise or fitness, for example? And then again, how would you sort of fit that into your day if you've already got X amount of stuff to get that done that day?
I think that's the hardest part with all this, is like managing time, because like, probably on a farm, not everything's done all the time. Like, you haven't always got, you can never get to the end of the day right, everything's done.
Everything's ticked off.
You've sort of got everything prioritised for that day, so it's a matter of you just got to be organised. Good time management, which sometimes is out of your hands a little bit with different things, but like, it does. I've always sort of tried to make time for footy training and all those sort of things, and
and do you do any other fitness, anything?
Yeah, sort of like since footy got a bit hard, and, got a bit old for that, sort of started doing a bit of running, and there's a group of blokes in Naracoorte that run, and like, that's been really good, because it's a an individual sport turned into a team sort of a thing, and it's nearly like a long run is like the same sort of feeling you get after a hard game of footy sort of thing, like, it's the same, and it's. But, you got to manage your body as well, that you don't do too much, because it leaves a little bit left. But it's I found it a good discipline. Yeah. It keeps you off the beers Friday night a bit, and even Saturday night, or to a degree. Like, it doesn't always, well, sometimes it gets you on the beers. But, like that. I mean, I've enjoyed it, and it's a fairly cheap sport, really.
So it's like accessible, you can do it sort of anywhere. Plus the fact, you're getting that fitness out of it that you can probably take straight into your job, sort of being on your feet all day and moving and stuff like that.
That's right. And I think the thing I've got out of running a bit is like knowing what your body needs. Like, and I've enjoyed that side of it, and just measuring, like with with these watches and all that. Now you can measure different things about your body, heart rate, and, but and it's a good, like, we're in a group situation. It's fun too.
You get that camaraderie, sort of the same as footy, but in a different sense now.
And you could probably do it, with motorbikes and things like that too. Like, because it's quite physically demanding as well. But like, the running's cheap, simple, and there goes that coffee machine. And like, you can do it with kids, or like, kids can ride a bike, or that's and you sort of, I suppose, get a bit of an appreciation for a bit of geography that you wouldn't usually see.
So thanks very much for joining me today, Craig. I really appreciate having the opportunity to sit down and have a chat with you. Hopefully the farmers out there can relate to some of the things you've said, or it's given some food for thought. Maybe you'll get a few runners out there joining your group. Thanks to all those who have listened to Getting Fit with Farmers. Tune in next week to hear me speak to the next local farmer. For more information, head to our website at www.goodcountryphysio.com.au. Until then, keep well, keep moving, and here's hoping all of those farmers out there have a successful year.